What's going on, guys? It's your boy Cisco here. I'm back with another video. Um Today is gonna be kind of a different video. I'm gonna kind of get into my story a little bit to start telling you guys like what I've been through, what I'm going through. So some of you guys may know, or some of you guys may not know, that about 3 years ago on March 12th, I had open heart surgery because one day I was at work and my hands, my arms, and my legs, they all completely went numb. And obviously that's kind of scary. I mean, not kind of, but it's really scary, you know, when it happens to you. So I left work. I had someone come pick me up, take me to the emergency room. Went to the emergency room. I really don't even remember like the day. I mean, like what happened at the emergency room, like anything. It's all just a blur now. Like I went in, and when I left with news that I had to have open heart surgery, and that it wasn't like, oh, you're gonna need open heart surgery eventually. It was like, you're gonna need open heart surgery like pretty soon, you know. What happened was I went in, they did an MRI on me with the contrast dye so they can see everything inside my chest, everything, you know. When they did that, they found an aneurysm on my aortic root, and then I had a bicuspid valve, which is your aortic valve has like 3 little leaflets like this, so they pump blood like that. Only 2 of mine were pumping blood, so it was like this. One of them was staying open, so it was leaking blood back into my body instead of pumping it like it's supposed to. So I had to get my aneurysm repaired, and I had to get that valve repaired, and they had to put a stent around the aneurysm, and they had to put a mechanical valve inside of me. So that's the news that I left with. And basically after that, like, it just happened like boom, 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 boom. But there was a lot of, I guess, confusion, or I don't know, miscommunication about my surgery with doctors and everything. As you guys may know, like, I love piercings. I only have 2 in right now. But I've had 17 piercings. All from my chest up, guys. Get your mind out the gutters. But these MRIs, everything, brand tests, everything. So they knew I had my piercings. They knew that I had them on my chest. I had them on the back of my neck. I had my septum, I had my snake bites, and I had my tongue pierced. Oh, I also had a dermal right there and my anchor tattoo. But so like obviously you can see those in x-rays. Like, I just don't have random pieces of metal inside my body. Like, you can tell that I have piercings on the x-rays. So what the doctors didn't tell me, and I didn't know because I never had this kind of surgery before, was that I had to have all my piercings removed. Couldn't have any kind of metal in me. The reason being is because when they do the surgery, if they do have to use the paddle things, the defibrillators on you, that if you have any kind of metal on you, piercings, anything, that obviously the electricity is going to be attracted to it, and it will burn your skin. So the day before my surgery, I went into my pre-op appointment. Then they seen my piercings in person, and so they finally told, like, they told me, like, oh, you can't have any piercings. And so I had to go get them all removed, like ASAP. My surgery was in San Francisco, so when I went to my pre-op, it was in San Francisco. I already rented a hotel. I was already out there. Like, it was already all planned. Like, everything was packed. Like, it was just all worked out and everything. And then when they told me that, basically I couldn't get my surgery until I got all my piercings removed and they were all healed. So they had to close everything. That took about maybe a little less than a month. But keep in mind, like, I was supposed to have surgery the next day after my pre-op appointment, and that obviously didn't happen because of my piercings. So my surgery was rescheduled to April something. I forgot what it was. And from February to April, I was still having constant chest pains. My arms were still going numb. My legs were still going numb. Like, just different things, like different health problems with me, like in my chest. When I started having a lot of chest pain, I went back into the emergency room, and they basically told me that, like, you need to have surgery, like, ASAP, like, right now, like, basically emergency surgery. My aneurysm had grown about 3 or 4 centimeters, I think it was. And it was already to the point where it was like, if it would have grew a few more centimeters, like, it would have like, the aneurysm would have busted, and I would have just basically flatlined right there, like, wherever I was, I would have been done. That's actually really scary to think about, because, I mean, I obviously can't measure my aneurysm, like, on a daily, so I can't keep track of it. Like, I only can keep track of it if I go into the emergency room or if I go get an MRI. So, I mean, that was really scary for me. That was a scary time in my life. I did have my son already. He was 2 years old at the time, or turning 2 at the time. So after I had gone in, they told me I needed emergency surgery, basically. They rescheduled my surgery for March 12th. So by that time, my piercings were out. They were all healed. Everything worked out again. I got a hotel again. This time my parents went out there with me. I had all my family with me. I had my parents, my cousins, my godparents, my siblings, my fiance at the time, which I will get into that in a different video, obviously, because this one is, yeah. But yeah, it was crazy. So I went into my surgery about, I think I had to be there like at 5 or 6 in the morning in San Francisco. So we got there the day before. We stayed the night, woke up, went to the hospital. They did all my whatever they had to do, like pre-op, do my IVs. They had to shave my chest, make sure all my piercings were healed, all my piercings were out. Like, I didn't have no metal on me. I didn't have no necklaces. I didn't have no rings. They had to log in all my stuff that I brought with me. Take all my information, basically do vitals and everything. After that, they took me into a room, like a big, gigantic room, where it was like, well, from what I remember, like, obviously my memory wasn't really, like, focused on everything else that was going on around me. It was focused on my health, my kid, my fiance at the time, my family, you know, like, I wasn't really paying attention to anything else around me besides what was going on with myself. So I'm just telling you a story of how I imagine and how I picture it going on, but I'm pretty sure this is how it all happened. So So they took me into a room on the gurney, the bed, and then it was just a curtain around the bed, but it was like enough room for all of my family to be surrounding me. So all my family came in before I went into surgery, you know, to say basically like, okay, good luck. And then they all prayed for me. My parents prayed for me. My godparents prayed for me. Everyone was there praying for me. At that time, that was a very emotional time for me and my family. Obviously for my parents, that was really hard for them. I mean, it's kind of scary for me to say and to talk about, but basically I was on my deathbed. Like, if anything happened to me during that surgery, or who knows what, like, could have happened, like, that's it. Like, I would have been done. Like, I wouldn't be telling you my story. I wouldn't have this YouTube channel. I wouldn't be able to try and reach out to people and talk to you guys about what I've been through and try and relate to different situations that you're going through or someone else is going through, that you can tell, like, oh, so Cisco's been through this, like, maybe you should watch his videos, or you should talk to him, you know, like, maybe he can give you advice about it. Like, obviously this isn't the only thing that I've been through, like, but this is just one of the main topics that I really want to touch bases on. So after they prayed for me, my family left. They went into the waiting room. Next thing I remember is them doing something with my IV. I don't know, they were putting medicine or something in my IV. And then they did the anesthesia. I definitely tried to stay awake as long as I could. I don't remember what I got. They told me to count down from like 10 or something, or 20 or something like that. I don't remember what number I got down to. All I remember is my family being there around me, them leaving, the nurses and doctors doing what they had to do, and then them pushing me out of the room after I already said my goodbyes to my family and everything. That was really emotional. Like, all of us were crying and everything. After I said all that, they pushed me out into the waiting room with all my family again. So it was like all emotions all over again, goodbyes all over again. But it was just like a quick, like, you know, going through. But it was still very hard. Like, it was hard for me. I'm sure it was hard for my family to watch me being wheeled away to have open heart surgery. After that, the next thing I remember is waking up. I wouldn't wake up for anybody. Like, everyone was trying to talk to me. Well, I'm guessing people were trying to talk to me. But I obviously wasn't responding because I was still under anesthesia. And the next thing I remember is hearing my cousin's voice. I can't remember what she was saying to me, or if she was just saying my name. But that's the next thing I remember, is hearing my cousin's voice. And I started to wake up. And keep in mind, like, this is the cousin that, like, is gonna be on my videos, that asked me the questions in my other video. My closest cousin. We are only a few months apart. So basically we're like brother and sister, but we're not brother and sister, we're cousins. But anyway, so the next thing I remember is her talking to me and me trying to wake up and respond to her. And she's the only one that I would do that for. And when they seen me, like, trying to wake up and trying to respond, they had to stop her because it wasn't, I still had the breathing tube down my throat. I was still hooked up to all these machines. Like, at the time I had a pacemaker. Like, I was just, it was crazy, like, crazy. I really don't know what it looked like or like what I was hooked up to, because I had asked everyone before my surgery. I had asked everyone that when I was in that ICU after my surgery, that no one would take any pictures of me, because I did not want to see myself like that. I don't want to see myself hooked up to all these machines, like basically almost on like basic life support. But yeah, so I remember my cousin talking to me, trying to wake up, and then I can feel the breathing tubes in my throat, and it was the worst feeling ever. Like, you felt like you were choking, but you weren't choking because you can still breathe, but you had something down your throat, basically holding your throat open, pumping air into you, helping you breathe, you know, all that. I was hooked up to oxygen. So when I started hearing her and started to wake up, I started moving around, and that's what really started bothering me, and how I felt all of the breathing tube down my throat and everything. After that, when I went back out, like basically back under anesthesia, like I don't remember anything after that. Then I guess a few hours after, oh yeah, my surgery was supposed to be 8 hours long, but it ended up only being 5.5 hours, because God was definitely on my side and watching over me. My surgery was really fast. It was very successful, obviously. So yeah, after all of that, when I woke, like officially like woke up when I was supposed to wake up, I still had the breathing tube in my throat. But when I woke up, they're like, okay, we need to take the breathing tube out now. Worst feeling ever. So basically, you have to swallow while they're like pulling it out. It was like, basically felt like a tube, basically like just scraping it inside of your throat and coming out your mouth. Like, it was horrible. So after that, like, when I officially woke up, everyone was already gone. Like, the only people that were there were my parents, and I think my sister was there. My cousin had already left. My godparents already left. Oh, my fiance was there also at the time. Yeah, I mean, it was a really hard time, but I'm so glad I got through it. I feel like I'm all over the place with this story. I mean, I could go into more details about everything, but I'm just trying to give you guys like the basic story of my open heart surgery, so just so you guys can get an idea of like what I went through, and the pain, the feelings of it, the emotions of it. That was a really hard time in my life, but hey, I got through it. I'm here now. I'm fine. I'm healthy. I do still have a lot of chest pains, but that's a lot of muscle and skeletal pains. It's not, it doesn't have anything to do with like my heart or anything, but I mean, I'm still in a lot of pain. Even 3 years later, it still hurts. Like last night, well, not even last night, 4 o'clock this morning, I went to the emergency room because I was having really bad chest pains. It started in my chest, then later on in the day it went to under my ribs, and then after that it went into my lower back. By the time it went into my lower back, it was about 2:30 in the morning. I was laying in bed. I couldn't even move. I couldn't get up to go pee. I couldn't get up to nothing, like turn off my light, turn on my light, the TV, grab the remote, nothing. All I had was my phone next to me. luckily my mom woke up at 3:30 in the morning, and she sneezed downstairs, and so I texted her and I was like, bless you. And then she's like, why are you awake? So I explained to her everything that was going on with my pain and everything. By that time it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and she was like, alright, get dressed, I'm taking you to the hospital. So we get to the hospital about 4 in the morning. They do EKGs, they do my x-rays, they do my blood tests, they wanted to do MRI, but I've had so many MRIs that now I'm allergic to the contrast dye that they put into you to see everything that's like inside, like to where your blood is pumping and everything. I've had it so much that now I'm allergic to it. I break out in hives. Double dose of Benadryl doesn't even help me. So yeah, I didn't do an MRI yesterday or a CAT scan, but I did everything else. All my tests came back normal. My x-ray was fine. My EKG was fine. All my blood tests were fine. Like I said, it's just muscle and skeletal pain. And when I say just muscle and skeletal pain, I'm very thankful that it's muscle and skeletal pain, but it hurts a lot. It's like I basically felt like a snake was wrapped around my whole chest, my lower back, and my ribs, and I was just being like constricted, like I was just being squeezed so hard and everything. I was just in so much pain, but luckily everything came back normal. I'm fine. I actually haven't even slept in over 24 hours. I'm exhausted, you probably can tell, and that's why I'm all over the place with my story. But I'll definitely get into more details when I tell you other stories. Like, more stories contribute to this story, if that makes sense. But I'll definitely get into more details about that. If you guys have any questions or anything for me, like, feel free to ask. Feel free to talk to me. Feel free to tell your friends, like, if they're going through anything, or they have heart problems, or they've had open heart surgery. Like, I really don't know anybody else that had open heart surgery. I mean, it's not like really a common thing for my age. I'm only 28 years old. I had my surgery at 25. So yeah, I was really young when I had my surgery, and it was definitely a life-changing experience. You definitely can't take life for granted. I don't take life for granted no more. I try and live my life 1 minute at a time. I live, you know, in that moment. I have to. I don't have a choice. And you guys should do the same. You guys should really just live in that moment. If you want to do something, do it. You want to get a tattoo, save your money and get a tattoo. Or, you know, you want to cut your hair a certain way, dye your hair a certain way, grow a beard, don't grow a beard, get piercings, do whatever you want to do. Live your life for yourself. Don't live your life for other people. I mean, when you do that, you basically end up miserable. Like, you're not happy with yourself. I know from experience. That's also another story I will get into. I'm also going to get into my depression, my anxiety, my whole life, basically, you guys. I'm putting it out there for you guys. I just want to tell you guys, like, my story, what I've been through. Like I said, I've been saying in this whole video, I'm just trying to relate to different people. I'm trying to, you know, get out there, talk to people, help people, encourage people, do whatever I can. But yeah, I mean, that's basically the basic story of my open heart surgery. Like I said, you guys want to know more or anything, hit me up. Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. I'm available all day, basically, guys. I will respond to you. I will answer all your questions that you have for me. Just ask and you'll get an answer. But that's my story for today. I will be back with more videos. Next video my cousin will be in, so you guys will finally see her and meet her. That's gonna be a fun video. Definitely. We already know what we're gonna do. We have the ideas already, so you guys stay tuned for that. And yeah, I will catch you guys next video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see y'all later.